Hi guys. Welcome to Moments with Inonge, and you are watching the financial literacy segment. I am so glad you guys were able to tune into this financial literacy segment in conjunction with JM Investment Schools. We're going to be talking about something that you and I um, actually interested in, and that's moving from savings, moving from savings to investments. So that is what we're going to be talking about, because I know you're interested in savings, you're interested in investments, and both you and I are on our journey to financial freedom. So if you're on that journey to financial freedom, please ensure that you stay tuned to the very, very end of this segment, and also ask your questions and participate. So what we're going to do is also in the comments section, I'm going to drop a link. I'm going to drop a link that will enable you to click if you want to come to the screen and actually ask your questions. So if you feel like, you can actually drop your questions by typing them. But if you also want to come into the studio, you can actually click that link, and then we'll be able to add you to the live broadcast. This is going to be so enlightening, as you and I are destined for the top. And finances are part of what actually makes us be at the top. So please do stay tuned, even as we talk about moving from savings to investments. So once again, I would love to welcome each and everybody that is watching, whether you're watching us through the platform of Moments with Inonge or JM Investment School. I just want to welcome you. And I'll just quickly run you through the schedule of Moments with Inonge. So every Sunday, we have the inspirational segments. And on Mondays, we have either the financial literacy segment or the motivational segment. And every Tuesday, we have the leadership segment. So, guys, stay tuned for the leadership segment tomorrow. And currently, we are running the practical table. So, for those that haven't yet subscribed to the practical table, I would encourage you to do so. I encourage you to do so. It's not too late, as we are even having our guest speaker, Thomas Manda, tomorrow at 20:30 via Zoom. So if you haven't subscribed, please ensure that you do subscribe. You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait to actually just jump into this section and just invite Joel to come onto the screen, even as we discuss moving from savings to investment. So before I do that, guys, I would just love for you to drop your comments, letting me know how many of you are saving, how many of you are investing. Let's get talking about savings and investment, because me and Joel, we are not the experts. We're just building one another. The knowledge that we have acquired, we are sharing with you, and hopefully we are looking forward to also being enlightened by what you know and what you can definitely share. So stay tuned, guys. Drop your comments, like and share. So for those that are watching, how many of you are actually saving money? How many of you are saving money, and how many of you are actually investing? How many are saving? How many are investing? So we have Mwansa watching, and Mwansa is tagging Grace and saying, Grace, come here, please. Yes, guys. Mwansa, thank you so much for tagging Grace. Please, guys, follow, share this broadcast. Tag your friends. I mean, we are all moving. We are all on this journey, to financial freedom. I'm not yet there, and I believe that I'm going to get there through the experience, the insights, and the knowledge that I am going to share with you, and you're going to share with me, and Joel is actually going to share with us. So guys, like and share this podcast. Tag your friends, tag your family, tag everybody that you need to see, somebody that you want to see, rising up and taking responsibility of their, finances. Remember, the theme on Moments with Inonge is actually management is our responsibility. Management is our responsibility. So anyone that you want to see managing their finances so well, please tag them, and believe you me, they will be grateful you did. So, Mwansa, thank you so much for finding time to join us in this financial literacy segment. And thank you for tagging Grace. Guys, let me know where you're watching from, and tag and share with family and friends. So at this point, I'm going to be bringing in Joel into the studio. And please, guys, let's welcome Joel. Hi, Joel. You are welcome. Your mic is muted. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay, I don't know if Joel can hear us, but Joel, your mic is muted. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay, let me just ensure that we can do that.
Okay. All right. Okay. How are you?
We are great, Joel.
Yeah, I'm Joel. I'm proud to be here this evening. We hope we are going to share and educate one another.
Sure, most definitely. So, Joel, just before we go into the comments, even as I
Okay.
know people are commenting about saving, about their savings, about their investments, please do use this opportunity just to tell us very quickly about JM Investments. Okay, I don't know whether Joe, are you able to get me clearly?
All right. JM Investment is an organization that is looking at encouraging financial literacy. So it looks at areas of savings and running away from debts. Or yes, I can get you here. Hello.
Yes, Joel, kindly go ahead.
All right. Okay. So are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I was saying JM Investment. We at JM Investment School. Actually that's the name, JM Investment School. We are looking at three things. One is financial literacy. All right. The second one is financial planning or financial advisory. Then the third one is investment advisory. All right. So when you look at financial literacy, we want to get everyone to start understanding their finances, how they are spending, and how they are going to manage to do what they want to do. For the financial planning, we do a lot of things, and even if retirement planning, we'll be able to sit with you and share ideas on how you can plan for your retirements. We have a lot of variable means to do it here in our country or elsewhere. Investment advisory, we also that's a part we're going to look at today. Investment advisory, what can you invest in? At what stage? So let's hope we will interact and be able to learn from one another.
Okay, awesome. We have a comment. Mwansa, and Mwansa is saying, I'm saving at the moment, and my goal is to go into government bonds. I'm so excited for this segment. Thank you, Inonge. You are welcome, Mwansa, and looking forward to interaction between you and us. And we also have a comment from Chani, and Chani says, very interesting topic. Thank you so much, Chani. Thank you also for tagging your friends and sharing this broadcast and also participating. So, like I said, our topic for discussion is moving from savings to investments. So, this is a financial literacy segment, or what we call financial education. So obviously, somebody may be wondering to say, okay, why do we have this financial literacy segment or financial education? So the reason why I and Joel have actually come and actually invaded your space is so that we become enlightened. You know, most of the things that we do revolve around finances. Most of the things that we want, even most of the things that are actually on our prayer requests, you know, they involve finances. So the use of finances is actually very, very important. How we're going to manage our finances, how we're going to grow them, because most of our needs are actually tied to finances. Joel, what can you contribute to why financial literacy or financial education?
Yeah, we need the financial education. Like what Mansa was saying, he has a goal to invest in government bonds. Okay, so this is I think this is one of the topic we should be able to bring, and we will expect Mansa to participate to see whether what expectation you'll be having by investing in government bonds, and what kind of you need to do to be able to be on the advantage when you invest in government bonds. So we are going to have this session very soon. It will be announced. So what I can also add is when you look at financial literacy, most of the time people look at it as if it's not a very important topic. But when time comes, that's when they realize. We have seen so many people sometimes that you win a lottery today, a lot of money, but come after 3 years, people start talking about you. You say you used to have money and so on, but you are now nothing. This is because you did not do what you are supposed to have done. You never had maybe someone to give you proper advice in finance. So that's why financial literacy is very important so that you can know what to do. Uh, we have also seen that, like we talk about the beneficiary of, like the other time, what we are talking about, somebody works for a long time, but when time comes, say maybe someone has passed on, the family gets that money, start using them within a short period of time, and that money is no more. So that is sometimes people start to, there's that talk which I usually hear to say, this is the money someone you have never worked for, so it's very hard to manage it. It's not true. It is the education. If you know what to use, you can even be better than someone. For instance, in the case of beneficiaries, you can even be better by the more than the owner of the money. So when you look at financial education, it evolves around us, our relatives, ourselves, and so on. The financial decisions that we make. Sometimes you get if you're working, you get a gratuity. What do you want to do with your gratuity? You may not know. What we see people doing, they start buying this, buying furniture, wearing nice suits, and so on. They forget their goal. So financial literacy is about it's a financial education. It's about aligning your goal. You have a goal, what you want to do. So that goal, what you want to do, is also when you receive, when you have money, how do you build towards your goal? Some of those goals, they need to be financed. So that financial education, it will help you to say you should be able to build. I was talking to one young man who was trying to build an investment over his education. He wanted
Yeah.
to go and study in UK, and the amount of money that person wanted was about 300,000. And how much was he putting per month? He was putting 1,700. So I was able to tell him to say, no, just saving this way is very hard to attain that. So there's another way you should do. So that's why we need financial literacy.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So, even as we are having this wonderful and very enlightening topic, Joel, about moving from savings to investments, just in case there's somebody who's joining us for the first time, so they were not able to catch up with us when we're talking about savings, I think it would just be important for us to touch a little about what savings are, even before we move to investments.
All right. Savings, I'll put it in the simplest terms. All right. Savings is a situation where you have earnings, one. Then you have expenditure. And if your expenditure are less than your earnings, the difference is your saving. Okay. So that's
Okay.
the money that you are not going to spend. If it's in a month, that's a money you are not going to spend and you're going to put aside. So that is the savings. It is where you discipline yourself and be able to balance the expenditure and the earnings. So the earnings should always be more than the expenditure. So if
Mm.
your earnings and the expenditure they are the same, it's either you reduce the expenditure or you increase your earnings. So that's how you can create savings. So that's in a
Okay.
simplest way, that's savings.
All right. So, guys, what is your definition? Everyone that's participating, what is your definition of savings? I'll quickly just share a brief personal story with you about um, myself growing up. You see, when I was growing up, mom would mom or dad both would actually give us pocket money, and then that pocket money, usually I would spend some at school, buy a few snacks at the tuck shop, and then I would keep some. And there was a place where I used to hide the money. I would actually hide the money. So eventually, at some points, mom and dad would not have any money, and they would come to me and they'll ask to say, "Oh, can we have some can we have some money from the money that you have been keeping?" And thinking about that, it's something like I'm not even working, but there's that ration that you're given, to take care of yourself.
Yes,
So when you come to think about that, Joel,
yes,
this saving, it doesn't have to really be for somebody that is working. It can also be, for a student. It can also be for a student, somebody that
yes.
receives a ration. What do you call it? Upkeep? Yeah, should be upkeep.
Yeah, pocket money.
Yeah, pocket money. So it can be something, it can be something like that. But the question is, today, how many of us parents are actually advising and teaching our children how to save? Because it's not that my mom and my dad told me about saving, but rather, I don't know, there was just this thing about me that I just loved to keep and not use anything. So, even as this is a financial literacy segment, I am just thinking to say, guys, it's also important for us to educate our children while they're still young. So thank you so much, Joel, for just bringing us up to speed, about saving.
Yeah,
You have this
yeah.
income
And,
and
and
you have.
just to add
Sure, go
to add just on savings, usually even with children, the
ahead.
education that we should be able to give, be it children or adults, we need to have a goal because if a child is just saving, he will
Mm,
be just developing those expenditure. What am I going to spend this money on? Give that child that money, we just spread it on useless toys and whatever, then it will be normal. So they need to have a goal, okay? They need to
Yeah.
have a goal. So when they have a goal, they will even be able to sacrifice more.
Mm. Wow. I like that. I like that. And I remember when we had this financial literacy segment, when we really talked about saving, it came out strong to say, you know what, this actually makes sense. Because if you're saving without a goal, you spend the money, any little thing you think it's urgent and it requires you to withdraw those savings, and you spend it. So just moving us forward, Joel, let's also, talk about what investment is.
All right. Investment is when you, let me put it this way. It is when you have your money, be it the savings, okay? Some of the savings goals that people have is to invest into something. So you are going to find that more usually investment would start at a certain amount. Maybe if it's a business, they will tell you to say for this business, it requires 30,000. Then you keep on saving, and when it's 30,000, that's when you invest. What are you investing? Those are resources. Okay. So when you are investing the resources, I want you to put in your mind a seed. Okay. A seed, you find that is something that you buy using money and it's expensive, but you get that seed and go and put it in the soil. It has to rot. Okay. So meaning that you don't know whether that seed is going to be a plant or not. So it is the way you are going to nurture it to be a plant. So it is the same with investment. You're going to get that money, put it in the investment. That investment, immediately you put it there, there is a risk. Okay. So now what you expect from an investment is a return, which is more than the amount of money that you had put.
Mm.
So that is how investment is. So investment, you should always respect a return of resources which are more than what you have put in. Because if you retain something equal to what you have put in, that is not investment. Okay. So if it is something you put something and you retain the same amount of money, it was like saving. It's just like saving. Okay. But investment should have something to pay you. And the three things that investment has: one, investment looks at time. Okay. The investment also looks at risks, and investments looks at inflation. So for instance, if you invest, I'll give you an example. You have today a 1,000 kwacha, and you expect a return of 1,500 at the end of the month. And I'm looking at time there. So there's another person who is investing the same money and getting the same amount of money after after 6 months. So that one who was saving for 1 month, meaning that he has a good return. Once the return is the same, okay, the person who is going to have a return after a shorter period of time has a better return than that person who is going to save for a longer period of time. That is time. The second one is risks. If your investment is more risky, you expect a larger return. Okay. Usually, like where Mansa wants to save the government bonds, we usually know that the government bonds have got a lower risk. So even the return are lower than other investments, most other investments, which are riskier. So for you to commit that investment, you need to, you know that this investment may not come or may come. So you may need a very larger return than someone who has a lower risk. The third point, the inflation. Investment should be able to beat inflation. Okay. So like we are told that inflation nowadays is 21%. So anything that you invest in and have a return of less than 21% in a year, that one is not a good investment. The good investment should have an 21% and above, because if you do that, meaning that your money is going down. Okay. That money that you are saving is going down in terms of buying power. If you're able to buy 4 things at the start of the year, you may not be able to buy 4 things at the end of the year. So that's what it entails. So when you're investing, you should always look at the 3 things that we have mentioned.
Okay, so in a nutshell, Joe, just to, like break down everything that you've shared with us. So when it comes to investment, I like the example that you actually gave to say when you're looking at resources are like a seed, and then when you're investing, you should have this expectation that at the end of it, this is what you're going to get. So an investment is something that you plant in, you sow in your resources, and at the end of it, you don't just expect to get exactly what it is you have sowed, but much more over a
Yes.
period of time. Over a period
Ye-
of time, and
Yeah.
someone should also be able to take risks, because whenever you're sowing, it's like a seed. Sometimes
Yes.
you sow into soil and it may spring forth. It may spring forth and bear
Yes.
fruit. Sometimes it do not spring forth and bear fruit. So even when it comes to looking at investments, they are risky, and the higher the risk, the greater the return. you know
Exactly.
wow,
Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, that's a very good understanding of what an investment is. You've made it so simple, you've made it so good, and I'm enjoying this financial literacy segment, because we are definitely learning. And when I think about this, and I look at the phases and the stages of which we go through as individuals, the stages we go through as individuals. So there'll be points at which we save, and then there'll be points at which we move from saving to investment, which is actually our topic, moving from saving to investment. So there is a question from Mwanza, and that question is, how can I boost my savings? I'm saving for my salary, which is fixed. Is there like to save, or I just have to save to invest?
Uh, okay. Uh, all right. Okay. That's a nice question. How it can boost his savings? Yeah, the other way, I think we will come back to, if he follows this program nicely, he's going to
Hmm.
have the answer. We have the answer to that. But
Okay.
just to mention on it, yeah, indeed, you need to, if you are saving for something that is big, you need to, uh, if you that saving, you can put it in a sort of investment and
Mm-hmm.
continue saving. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, here's someone who is saving. Your saving goal is, take for instance 20,000, and you know
Yeah.
that it will take you time to reach 20,000. You have 2,000. What can you do? Maybe you can open a money booth, okay, mobile money booth. Those small profits plus what you are saving, it is going to push you to the 20,000 kwacha very fast.
Mm. Okay. So without going so much into detail, because I believe there is a part in which we're going to be able to touch this, I would love to know, and to share with everyone what, the difference between savers and investors are, because we're moving from, savings to investment. So really, what is the difference?
All right. Savers and investors. All right.
Mm.
Okay, savers, these are people who are saving. Okay, they are just saving, and what they are doing, they don't expect anything in return. What they are just doing is building up. Okay, you want maybe to buy a house at 100,000 kwacha. you'll be building up maybe 10,000 per year. In 10 years, you are going to have that, you are going to purchase that thing that you want to purchase. But when you look at investors, okay, investors are people who really know how to maneuver with the risks. Okay, these are the people who know how to manage their time and they're able to calculate what they want to do. So when you look at investors, they don't really, what can I say? They don't really uh, have that fear in front of them. Okay, they will do look at this, manage, learn about investment. So the secret that you should be able to, or that we can pull from here, is that investors usually look for information, they learn about information. So you need to learn in order to build what you want to build. So investors, like I've heard in many cases, they will say, oh no, you need where there are risks, that's where there are opportunities. Yes, but first of all, an investor, you need to learn. Get yourself educated. You have to be with the people who have done it. That's when you are going to invest properly. Once I asked about government bonds, and I've seen in the even other people, they will look at companies to invest on, say on the stock exchange. What are you looking at? So as an investor, you need to get educated. What I mean educated, I'm not saying you go to school for that, but what I need to do is like here, you are learning. So you are getting educated. Okay? School is part of them, but investment is part of the most practical venture that anyone can invest. It has no profession. Okay? Be it a doctor, can be an investor, whichever profession, you can be an investor. All right? We have seen even at the graveyards and so on, people are investing there and they are doing really fine. So an investor is someone who is willing to learn about investment and be able to do the right thing when it comes to committing the resources.
Wow, wow, wow. So yeah, that's mind blowing. An investor is somebody who is willing to do the right thing and commit, you know, their resources. You know, um, usually, I'm gonna speak from experience. You know, there are times that, you know, in this journey to financial freedom, you just think of keeping the money, just keeping the money, and not really wanting or knowing how to invest that money, you know. And I believe a lot of people can actually say the same for me, like me, you know, at that point in my financial journey. So what really makes people not to invest? Guys, those that are watching, what makes you guys not invest your money? Like, what keeps you just saving and not investing?
Okay.
Discuss around that.
Yes, we want to know about that. Let's interact. Maybe we are going to wait for some few answers.
Okay, so guys, what is it that makes people not to invest? What is your opinion? And even before we even maybe go to people and say, okay, people don't invest because of this and that, let's talk about ourselves. Like, what is it that doesn't allow us to invest? So we have a comment there, and that's usually it's lack of knowledge. That's true. That's very, very true, because I mean, from what Joel was saying, you know, he talked about an investor as somebody that actually goes in and gets the information about what it is that they're actually going to invest in. So Joel is back. Thank goodness you're back. So we have a comment there, and they're saying usually it's lack of knowledge. And he goes on to say that's what keeps people from investing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So the other thing is, if you look at people, because in our interaction, I also look at the practical part.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've seen people who'd come to say, "I've got 10,000 kwacha. What can I invest in?" Okay. So what
Mm-hmm.
usually pushes people to have those quick investments? They want an idea and so on. It's usually what I've seen, what I've derived from the interaction. It's usually pressure. Okay. You find that somebody has just lost a job, and that's when he wants to become an investor. Okay. So they usually have that pressure, or maybe there's a pressure of he has realized that what he is running with, he can't manage, so you'd want to invest. But
Sorry, Joel. Sorry to just cut you short. So what?
we want investors who want to invest because of they want to invest, not because of pressure and so on. Because if you try to invest because of those reasons, it's very hard to be successful. Okay. So now,
Go ahead.
hello.
Go ahead, Joel. Go ahead. Joel, are you there? Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So I was saying, um, what usually pushes people to invest, it's usually the wrong motive. Okay. Like
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, it's usually the wrong motive that pushes people to invest, mostly like pressure. Okay. Pressure usually pushes people to invest. Like I've just, okay. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we're good.
Hello? Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, Joel, please go ahead.
Okay. So I can go ahead.
Mhm. Okay. Joel seems to be
Hello?
having
Okay. All right. Okay. So I don't know where I was cut from. Maybe you can help me so that I pick from.
Okay. So, Joel, basically, what we're looking at is the question that
Are you
says,
able to
what?
help me where I was cut from?
Yes. So, what you were saying is basically what makes
Okay.
people not to invest. So, in a nutshell, what we've heard you share, because there are some points that you were breaking and some points that you were not so clear. So, from what I have got, I don't know what others have
Hello?
been able to hear. From what we have gathered is that people usually don't invest because they don't have pressure. That is one of the reasons why people don't invest, because they don't have pressure. That's something that we've picked from you, and that is something that I can also attest to, because many are the times that you are comfortable, and because you are comfortable, you are not thinking outside the box. But when pressure comes and you're thinking outside the box, this is when now you can think to say, okay, how can I increase,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
finances that are actually coming to me? And when I start thinking like that, this is when I'll start thinking to say, oh, okay, this is what I have. How can I now get this and put into a business so that I can start having more? So I guess part of what you've just said
Yes.
is pressure. And we have a comment actually from Mwansa, and Mwansa says, I totally agree with Inonge. Sometimes there is just that thing in me that makes me think twice about investing. Sometimes I just feel like sometimes I just like to look at my bank account balance, and that makes me feel whole and accomplished, and eventually forget about investing, and I just keep saving. To be honest with you, Mwanza, at some point in this journey of financial freedom, I too have done that. I mean, where I just look at my account balance and I go like, oh my God, this is good. And you forget, to go a little bit further, obviously, because of what Joel was saying, not having pressure. But the moment you start having pressure, or the moment the income that you're having is not able to facilitate all the expenses, all the needs that you have, now this is when you begin to think outside the box. So Joel, thank you for that one. You mentioned pressure. Is there anything else you want to add to what makes people not to invest? Very quickly.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So that the pressure party now that makes it the wrong way. Okay, the wrong way to lead you to investment. What should make somebody invest is education that you have collected, the knowledge. So people would fear to invest because of the risks. And we have heard people, when they want to invest, they will ask, say, what are the risks associated with this? Which is a good question. But when you tell them the risks that are associated with that, they won't invest. Okay? So they should now, the moment you hear about the risk, it's important to see how you can maneuver around the risks. Okay? So those to invest, okay.
Sorry. Okay. At some point, Joel seems to be having a bit of
Hello?
at some point Joel seems to be having a bit of a challenge
Okay. Are you
hearing
able
us.
to?
But yes, so I guess from there we can conclude.
Hi, Nonge.
Hi, Joel. We can conclude that we've mentioned, that some of the reasons are, just to summarize this part of this topic so that we can move to another area, is that feel good feeling, that Mwansa talked about, that not having pressure, and also, the risks that come with investment. Sometimes they tend to paralyze an individual from investing. They say, okay, if I look at my money in the account, it looks good, but if I invest it in a business, maybe it will come out, or maybe I won't be able to return my money. So just very quickly, we're going to talk about types of investors. Joel, let's just touch on the types of investments investors very, very quickly.
All right. Yeah, we have the types of investors. So each one, we should be able to see where we fall in. The first one, the first type of investor is somebody who does not invest at all. That's the first type of investor. So who is this person who does not invest at all? Okay, this is a person sometimes you find that is like the person we are talking about. You are comfortable, you have a good salary, the salary is able to do everything that you need. Okay, then you have to say, okay, I've got NAPSA, and I'm in say government, there is this pension, so there's no need for me to invest. So I'm going to rely on this. You've got those in corporate, they have gratuities and so on. So they don't invest at all. They wait for that money, and wait that when that money comes, they just spend. Okay. So the reason these type of people, they are pessimists. Okay. They doubt too much. They fear anything to do with risks. Okay. When you tell them to say you have gratuity, here's your 100,000 kwacha, invest it. They say, no, I'd rather buy in something that I'm able to see and so on. They fear anything. Okay. And these are the people like, I'm sure you have interacted with such people that maybe they give you something, or maybe you are an investment, you are doing an investment, they give you a little amount of money, and you tell them to say, this one looks like there won't be any return. They will be so agitated, and they even take you to the police. Those are the type of investors, the first type of investors. Okay. Then
Mm.
those they are the second one. They are the second type of investors. They are those investors who like they are like savers. Okay, they are like savers. They are risk averse investors. They fear risks. Okay, so what that they will do is they will look at first of all, they want to save in a very safe environment. Okay, so now, if you are such an investor that you always want to save in a very safe environment, usually those environments don't have a bigger return that can give you to what you need. All right.
Mm.
And these are the people who want, maybe it's a fixed deposit, and they wait, and most of the time you find that even the level of patience is so small. Then we have the third one. The third, those are risk takers. Okay. The risk takers type of investors. These are the investors, first of all, they don't just take risks. Okay. They want to learn. They are there to learn. They will go at Bank of Zambia and ask questions. They will go to these other places, Lusaka Stock Exchange, ask questions. They'll be able to see investment advisors. Okay. So now, the investment advisor thing. Okay, the other thing that I would say, I'll say, maybe Nonge will remind me. I want to speak about this thing, coaching, investment advisors, and so on for consultants later. Please bring it up if I'm going to forget at the end. So the risk takers, they are going to be educated, and when they know, okay, and they would even look for a mentor, to somebody who has been succeeding into something, to say, if this person stepped there, and I stepped there, I'll be able to make whatever that investors. So you need to know where you fall. And now, me, what I can tell you to say is that you need to go in the last category. Okay, where you have to learn, start reading, start even with the types of like when you've opened a TV station, you need to know which TV station, which programs are coming, where you can learn something, and which people to interact with, who can tell you what they are doing. Because most of the people who are doing fine, they don't usually share. Okay, they don't share openly. So you, as an investor, you need to know. I've seen other people, they will invite you maybe for a drink, and they know that if for you to finish that drink, you would have exposed a lot. So those are the types of investors. They look for information, they look for knowledge, and use that knowledge to their advantage.
Mm. Oh, okay. So at least we've heard about the types of investors. There are those that don't invest, and then there are those that will be able, those that are risk adverse, and then there are
Hello?
those would actually just go in, just go in with knowledge, actually with knowledge. So now the question is, how do we become investors? How do we become
Hi,
investors?
Nonge.
Joe, please go ahead.
Yes, yes. So, okay, so yeah, so the how we become investors, all right? We look at the third type of investor, okay? Yeah, so I'm also relying on your responses. So if I know that you're responding me, which means we are good with the with connecting. Okay, all right. So the third type of investor is the one where we are going to learn from how do we become investors. Because the third type of investor looks at investing for a profit. Okay? They don't just invest, they invest for a profit. So, how do we become investors? First of all, when you have that interest of becoming an investor, okay, you need to see yourself like what are you good at. That is one. But the other thing is you don't just really need to rely on what you are good at. The other thing that you should do, rule of thumb, is just to get the knowledge. Okay, get the knowledge. For instance, we have seen investors that have invested in things that they don't have they they are not talented in that area. Okay, they are using other people's talent. Theirs is the knowledge. All right. So as an investor, you need to find how that something is done, how much profit you would expect, and so on. Then, as much as somebody is telling you to say there are risks here, then once you commit your money there, you are going to be safe. You safeguard your money against the risk. You continue safeguarding until you get the profit. You are going to find that even the profit that you projected will be lower than what you are going to actually get from that because you have the knowledge. Uh,
Okay. All right. Okay, that's good. At some point, we keep having a break in
yeah, so
transmission.
so that's how you become an investor.
Okay, so practically speaking, you've been so practical about it. So here is somebody that has not so much finances. So say somebody has a savings of 3,000 kwacha. So in
Hello.
a nutshell, a person that has minimal savings, say like 3,000 kwacha, for them to become an investor in whatever field they want to invest in, they have to um, go ahead and actually get information about the field they're in, right? About the field they intend to go in. Okay, so we actually lost Joel there. We actually lost Joel there. But however, if he comes into the studio, well and good, but he seems to be having, network issues. So when we're talking about becoming investors, if you're working and obviously you've been saving a certain amount of money, so now we're discussing moving from savings to go into an investment. How do you do that? So I'll share my own take on how you do that, in a practical way. So the best thing that I advise is for you to move from actually being, from savings to investment is look for opportunities to invest money in an area that you're interested about, that you're interested in an area, that stirs up something within you. I think first and foremost, that should be a good move for you to move into when you're thinking of investment, especially when your money is limited. Why? Because when you're moving into something, when you're investing your funds into something that you're actually interested in, you know it becomes easy because you're interested in that thing. You put so much effort in finding out what goes on. But if you're not interested in a particular field, and you want to invest in that field, first and foremost, your lack of interest in that field will hinder you from getting as much information as possible. So I guess how we become investors first and foremost is to look for fields in areas that we are actually interested in. Anything to add to this, Joel, even as we quickly just wrap up this moving from savings to investments?
Okay, so the thing, like we have said, I'm going to repeat, like you invest first in yourself. Okay, investing in yourself, that is, you educate yourself. You
Mhm.
should be moving as somebody who really understand investments. Okay, the moment you understand, then you become an investor. All right, where if you have money in your hands, you know where to take it. So you really need to invest in yourself by educating yourself. Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so when we say, because time is also of essence, so obviously when we talk about moving from savings to investments, we've talked about investing in yourself, which is adding value. Previously I just wanted to say, look for an area, that you're interested in, because if you're interested in that area, it will be very easy to invest in yourself, to gain
Mm,
knowledge. you know
yes.
so I guess the other thing is that when you're looking to invest in a business, don't just hear what people are saying to say, okay, this business is profitable, it's making money, let me do it.
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
just
Okay.
go
So
ahead.
maybe you can have you can share the something I want to show just for 2 minutes. You can share the screen.
Unfortunately, Joel, you haven't put it in the studio for me to click it, so I can't.
Oh, okay. Let me try to see.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All right. Okay.
looking at time, it really has to be under 2 minutes because we've got 1 minute,
Exactly.
30 seconds to just wrap up this segment.
All right. Okay. So we are there. So
Yeah.
this is for those who I picked this one when I was a surveyor around, like institution that people would want to invest in. So now what we are saying that if you have the knowledge, you need to invest in things that gives you the multiplication exponential effect, meaning that if you have, it's like if you have two eggs, all right, those eggs hatches, the children hatch plus the parent and so on. So you need to have that kind of investment. So this one, for instance, if I want to demonstrate this under a minute, you have an investment where you're putting say 25,000. That 25,000 is at say 26%. I'm saying this because there's an institution that told me to say they give interest at 26%. Number of years, just 1 year. Okay. So all right. Okay. So meaning that it is going to give you the after 1 year, you are going to have a return on investment of 6,500. Okay. So this 6,500 is what you are going to make after 1 year. But look at the same amount of money. If you invest it for 4 years, so it doubles, more than double. Okay. So you have 25,000, you invest for 4 years, that amount of money is going to double. It's not going to give you like 6,500 by 6,500 by 4. No, it's it's not going to give you by 4, which is about 26,000, but it's going to give you 38,000 when you use compound interest. Okay, so compound interest is one of the a type of investment that we have seen that yields so good. So we are going to have a time when we're going to compare now investments, those who wants to invest. But first of all, like we have mentioned, make sure that you educate yourself. I hope I'm under the 2 minutes.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are under, and thank you so much. You know, I believe there are a lot of people that are really going to come to you and just really get more insights, especially concerning the last presentation that we currently had. I'm sure there are a lot of people. So, Mwansa, was your question answered? Was your question answered? Was it Mwansa that asked about going into going into bonds and the like? Yeah. Joel, let's just ensure that we've got that tackled. How can I boost my savings? I'm saving from my salary, which is fixed. Is there a thing like invest as you save?
Okay,
Or
this one,
have to?
yeah, this one we'll tackle it.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Just quickly, just go around it again.
Yeah, we've tackled this where we said you can continue investing at the same time saving.
Okay. So
All
once
right. Well, this is a situation where I was saying you can be having a small business. You have a target, say 20,000 at the end of the year. So how if you say you are saving 1,000, okay? If you are saying you are saving 1,000 per month, you're not going to make 20,000. You are going to make 12,000 after 1 year. So to make that 20,000 in a year, you can be doing some businesses that gives you something, add to that. So you can continue, you can be doing side businesses as well as saving to get your goal.
Okay, and I think just to add on to what Joel has said, Mwanza, it's like when you're saving, right? When you're saving, you can choose to save not in your piggy bank, but you can choose
Okay, is that answered?
savings accounts that actually have interest rates. So instead of you just getting your saving at the end of the year at a flat rate, you can actually get an interest um, on top of your savings. So that's a way that you can actually invest as you save. So you can invest your savings fixed. Actually, we have what we call fixed deposit. So you money for some time and get a return. So that would have been investing it and gaining something on top. So at this point, we just want to quickly wrap up this segment and thank everyone that was tuned in. We just want to thank Mwansa for being part and parcel. We thank William Chani for also being part and parcel of this segment. We also have Chanda who said interesting topic. Thank you so much. And we also have, I really love this topic where he says, I mean, his comment where he says, I'm teaching my 7-year-old to serve. When he turns 10, we'll start discussing investments. Since childhood, financial literacy was not shared to me. My story changes for my kids. Way to go, way to go, way to go. And we also have a comment from William Chani, and he says, I have bought a pig bank for my 4-year child where I encourage him to put the coins. After 3 months, I use whatever he has saved to buy him toys. I intend to start teaching him on how to grow the money when he reaches at least 10. Wow, wow, wow. Guys, I am so impressed. I am so impressed by your ability as parents to begin to serve, to teach your children how to serve. And I also love the goal that you have as parents, because both of you have touched at an age which is similar at the age of 10. teach to invest. So I'm so proud of you guys, and thank you so much for comments. Um, we also have Precious, and Precious is saying hi there. Thank you so much, Precious, for being part and parcel of this segment. So, Joel, any closing remarks?
Okay, I think for closing remarks, what I can say is that I think you need to choose your battles, okay? You need to choose your battles and your battlefield. That's what I can say. So what you do is that when you have chosen your battles and battlefield, you need to prepare yourself for this battle. So how do you prepare yourself? Get yourself information is readily available. We're in the times of internet, and we can visit around and so on. Have that knowledge. And one investor that usually I interact with usually tells me to say the other part, you need to understand even how banks operate. And the moment you're going to invest, the way banks invest, meaning that because banks usually invest in this knowledge, okay? So the moment you'll be able to understand how banks invest, you're going to be a very good investor. And like I was mentioning this thing, people who do follow, there are people around the town who are working for these institutions, and they are called the financial advisors, and you should be careful to differentiate them, because most of these organizations, very reputable organizations, they are actually sales marketers. Okay, and if you go there, even when they are getting them, they are getting them as a sales marketers, someone who has done sales and so on. So now the difference that person is going to tell you to buy the products that they are offering. Okay, but now when you get investors who are like us, who are not attached to anything, would be able to tell you to say, don't go there. Okay, because we do research, we can meaning that we go for the best. Whoever is providing the best return and good risk, that's where we look at. Okay, so that person who is working for that institution would want you to just buy those products. Then the other part is that as an investor, when you do your own homework, okay, be it reading newspapers, get to know what is going around and everything, you are going to prepare yourself. Okay, the moment you start investing, people will be surprised to say, this person, the way he invests is so smart, is profitable, and is good returns. Others will just be like, oh, they don't even know where to go. You go at the Lusaka Stock Exchange, you don't know which company to invest in. So you need people who have gone and compared everything. So that's my closing remark. And the most important thing, that start saving and have investment goals. If you are starting investing at the end of the year, commit yourself, okay, with the 3 Ds, okay, which is you must be disciplined, okay, you must be determined, okay, and you need to, when you are disciplined and you are determined, you are going to reach your goal. So you need to reach that goal.
Okay, so thank you so much, Joel, for that conclusion. And my conclusion from Moments with Inonge is, guys, we are all in pursuit to financial freedom. And financial freedom, it's a step at a time. So if you haven't yet started saving, meaning you are actually spending all that you are earning, and sometimes even going into debt, which is actually spending much more than you expect to come in. I would encourage you to reduce on your expenditure and begin to spend less than you take. So begin to serve. And as you move from the discipline of serving, I would encourage everyone, that is pursuing the financial freedom journey. I would encourage you to begin to invest. So move from saving after you have mastered the art of saving, move to another level, which is investing. Remember, investment is about profits. So ensure that you're getting a profit on your investment. So thank you very much
Exactly.
for joining me and Joel on this financial literacy segment. Please do make sure, if you're watching from JM Investments, do make sure to follow and like Moments with Inonge on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're watching via Moments with Inonge, please do also make sure to join Joel on JM Investment School on Facebook. Please do that. And just to quickly wrap us up through, the program, the schedule for Moments with Inonge, we have the financial literacy segment or the motivational segment on Monday, which is this segment. And do stay tuned for the leadership segment tomorrow. And for those on the practical table, please let's ensure that we have our Zoom session tomorrow at 20:30, where we'll be hearing from Thomas Manda. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. We appreciate you, we love you, and we're destined for the top. And we just can't wait, to meet with you at the top. Thank you so much, guys. Love you, Lords.